Breitbart News Sunday, Joel Pollak here in Southern California, welcoming you back to the show. Let's go to the lines before we go to our next guest. And we'll go to Cody in Dallas on line 3. Welcome to Breitbart News Sunday.
Hi, Joel.
Hello, Cody.
I really liked how Tucker Carlson platformed not just a Holocaust denier, but a Holocaust and World War II revisionist. That's just great of him. And now J.D. Vance is going to be sitting down with Tucker in a couple of weeks. Isn't that terrific?
Well, I've spoken out about that particular interview. You may or may not know that, but I think Tucker Carlson is off on his own journey, and I've criticized him several times this year, actually, for some of his guests. But the fact is that when people have a large audience, people are going to go on to their shows anyway. Jake Tapper had a white supremacist on a while back, and you don't see people turning down Jake Tapper because he interviewed a white supremacist, whatever that guy's name was. So Spencer, or
and
something
he agreed
like that.
with, and he agreed with him and just sat there idly nodding his head.
He certainly did not disagree with the guy's statements about Trump. I mean, Jake Tapper promotes the idea that Trump is somehow adjacent to these people, so he's happy to have people on his show who claim that that's the case. Look, I don't think that you can play. Hold on a second. We have media personalities in this country who interview all kinds of people, and I don't think that maybe you guys on the Never Trump right, since I know now who you are, and you're not a Democrat, or you claim not to be a Democrat, but since you're a Never Trumper, I know you guys are about canceling people. I know you guys like to shut people up, but that's actually not the way democratic discourse works. There are people who won't come on my show because I'm on Breitbart. You like coming on the show. You're actually very helpful, by the way. We want you to keep calling in. You asked, I think, once why we let you on air, even though we know who you are. Every time you call in, the lines light up. It's actually great for our programming. So we like talking to you. We like the fact that you stir the pot. Yeah, but no one calls in and says, "I can't believe you let that guy on your show," and that's just not the way the media works. So you have people go on with Tucker Carlson because he's a big interview.
If I started calling and denouncing...
Yeah. Go ahead.
If I started calling and denouncing Jews and saying horrible, horrible things, and that Hitler was the good guy and Winston Churchill was the bad guy, and the Holocaust just kind of happened by mistake, you know.
So let's break that down, Cody. Cody from Dallas, Mr. Pretend Cody from Dallas. Let's break that down. Did you actually watch the Tucker Carlson interview? Did you watch it? Or you just heard about it from someone and now you're calling in with your talking points?
No, I saw clips of it.
You saw clips, right? So you didn't actually watch it. Okay, so I watched it.
It was out of context, right?
Just hold your tongue for a second. I watched it, all right? And if a guy went on the air for any show and started denouncing Jews openly, nobody would have them on, and Tucker Carlson would have kicked him off because it would just look stupid.
Oh,
now,
I'm sure.
Having said that, hold on. If you call, listen, let me finish since I'm the one who actually saw the interview and you didn't. The problem with this guy that Tucker had on was he has revisionist theories about the Second World War that Tucker Carlson gave credibility to without any reason apparent to me for doing so, or apparent to anybody really. Churchill experts were weighing in and saying this guy's a complete nut. And basically his argument was that Churchill caused the expansion of the Second World War because Hitler offered Churchill peace and Churchill turned it down. Well, yeah, Hitler offered peace after he had already invaded Poland and invaded Czechoslovakia and basically taken over and started murdering people. And then he said, let's not have war with Britain. And everybody knew by then that when Hitler offers you a piece of paper... Hold on, don't interrupt me. It's really annoying. Hitler had already waved pieces of paper and said, I'm offering you peace, and it didn't mean anything. So it's a ridiculous argument. And then the guy went further and said that people who had shown up in death camps in Poland were people who had tried to surrender. And it wasn't that the Nazis were trying to murder them. It's that these Nazis just didn't know what to do with all these refugees, and so they put them in these camps and they died. Okay, that's what the guy said. Okay, he's nuts. He's nuts. It's just completely absurd. And, you know, and I think Tucker Carlson should have to answer for it. But the problem is
how good it was for the ratings.
Just don't interrupt me. I will so cut you off. You're just so irritating. I mean, I love having you on the show, but, like, are you married? Do you have neighbors? Do people talk to you? Like, do you have a life? Because if this is the way you behave, Like, just shut up for a second, and I'll let you talk. You know I'll let you have the last word. Just stop interrupting me. You play this game where you come on here and you make statements, and then before I've finished answering your question, you then move on to something else because you don't want me to answer the question because you know I'm right and you're wrong, and you just wanted to say whatever offensive thing it was you wanted to say. Actually, you know what? Screw that. Let me just come to the end of this story, and then you can have the last word, and we'll move on to another caller who actually wants to talk about something. If we were to play this game of deplatforming everybody, then we would live in the kind of totalitarian society that this revisionist historian might have been comfortable living in. And that's where the Democrats have taken us. So what do you do with Tucker Carlson if you disagree with him? You want to remove him from another network? He already got kicked off of Fox, and now he's on his own. And you know what? He's much more powerful now that he's been deplatformed because people gravitate towards what they're told they can't hear and can't see. So I've never said Tucker should be canceled or Tucker shouldn't have this guest or shouldn't have that guest, but it's open to criticism, right? That's what this is about. So I have you on here because your points of view are also open to criticism, as are mine. But I don't shut you down. That's the difference between me and you. That's the difference between people who go for Trump, who you guys call an authoritarian, who actually stands for an open society, and the never-Trumpers and Democrats who want to shut down discourse in this country. Now, if you have something else to say, I'll give you a minute to say it, and then you're done.
Okay, thank you. When Trump defeated Hillary, the first interview he gave was to Alex Jones. What does that tell you? Do you think maybe Trump normalizes every crackpot in our society? Do you think that's a good thing? I think it's great to have Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, the World War II revisionist. I think the crazier people he can find and bring them into the government and embrace them, put them in Congress, whatever, that's fantastic. Thanks, Donnie.
All right, well, you're an idiot. Because the Democrats have Al Sharpton on MSNBC, one of the most notorious violent anti-Semites, or violence-condoning anti-Semites, I should say, in this country alive today. He's on MSNBC. All the Democrats go on his show. They bow before the throne. They kiss the ring when they want his endorsement for elections. What that caller likes to do is to connect different things that don't connect to each other at all. And he likes to say, oh, well, because Trump talked to Alex Jones. By the way, I've been on Alex Jones. You think that Alex Jones affected me, or did I affect Alex Jones? Did I convince his audience, or did he convince me of something? Who's more persuasive? So Alex Jones interviewed Trump. I don't care, but Nick Fuentes didn't interview Trump. And Nick Fuentes isn't going into the government, as the caller falsely said. Nick Fuentes is also another crackpot. Anyway, this is what they do. Then they want to bring Trump down. They completely make stuff up. And the guy won't even use his real name. Calls in here under a pseudonym. We let him on, but he is a fool nonetheless. Let's go to someone who we've actually invited on the show. Let's go to Curtis Houck. And Curtis, I'm sorry you had to sit through that, but that's the nature of the dialogue we have here sometimes. And Curtis is, of course, the managing editor of the Newsbusters organization, which is incredible, out of the Media Review Center. And Curtis, well, first of all, what did you think of that? I mean, that's a troll. He calls all the shows, and then he makes little clips, and he puts them out. And he thinks he's very clever. He has nothing better to do with his time. But what did you think of that little exchange?
Yeah, I think what you just said is absolutely right. You know, one of the things I try to do with my clips is I actually try to, like, fully quote someone before I let the masses rule and weigh in as they see fit. I don't try to selectively, butcher your little quotes, and I don't think I'm that particularly clever. I'm just giving people the information using, my fancy tools because I'm not pointing my phone at the TV and then posting it on Twitter. So, and our numbers are our numbers. We have multiple people fact-checking all of our, minutes and seconds and positive, negative coverage as well. So this person could come on and talk about decency. I mean, give me a break. Your point about Al Sharpton is exactly right. Michael Steele's another one. He talked about Elise Stefanik being turds in Donald Trump's golden toilet. You want to talk about soul of the nation restored. I don't think that kind of stuff is helpful. You have Joy Reid, who said Ron DeSantis wished COVID were in liquid form so he could inject it into the backsides of Floridians. I don't. I think the left has plenty to answer for as well. And yes, you could talk about the Tucker Carlson interview, but like you said, you made a logical argument about why those arguments are wrong. You're not saying they shouldn't exist. that person shouldn't be allowed to exist. It's just that, okay, they are out there in the public square, and I will deal with them as such by dismantling them or saying why they're wrong. I want to say you don't need to hear them. It's just, they are out there, and I'm here to tell you why it's wrong.
You know what's crazy to me, and you'll enjoy this, okay? I was at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and I don't play this game of you were on this thing and therefore this thing. Like, I don't play this contamination game, okay, which is what they're doing. I was in a press gaggle where the head of the RNC, Michael Watley, was talking to reporters about voting. And there were some conservative reporters, including myself, who asked him some tough questions like, what are you doing to make sure that there's voter integrity, that the ballots are going to be counted properly? Things that voters actually care about, especially on the Republican side. And look, they have a credibility problem at the RNC because nobody trusts the party institutions to do it right, okay? So maybe they're going to do a great job, but we haven't seen it yet. And so he's getting those kinds of questions. But then